What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, just wanted to do a quick video here for you. Talk about the season's halfway over. We're at that point now. We're kind of reflecting on things that have happened with the Indianapolis Colts over the last 9 games. Over halfway through the season, like I said. And we are kind of talking about who's risen to the challenge, who's kind of fallen apart, and what's been going on with everybody else, and just where this team stands going into the backstretch of this team. So I wanted to talk first, about Shane Steichen, the new head coach, right? Comes into this situation where he doesn't know what quarterback he's going to get, right? And then, of course, we saw what happened with Jonathan Taylor throughout this whole training camp and the start of the season. He wasn't ready, right? And through all the injuries, through all the drama, through everything that we have seen Shane Steichen have to deal with this season, for the Indianapolis Colts to be at 4-5 going into the backstretch, I'd say is pretty dang good. And there's a couple reasons why I've really been impressed with what we've seen from Coach Steichen and the coaching staff in general. So, first things first, to be the only team still to have scored 20 plus points in every single game this year, that's no slight on, that's no easy task for the Indianapolis Colts, and that's no easy task for anyone. There's a reason why no team in the NFL has done it besides the Colts. Even the high-powered offenses still are having difficulty scoring 20 points every single game, and the Colts are the only team to do it. And we can talk about, a couple different reasons as to why later on. But, of course, like I said, we will mention that as we go along here with these players. But it really talks a big game when it comes to Steichen and how he approaches the offense, right? And we have seen a lot more creativity with the offense and getting guys open and finding guys open and different concepts, and this was such a big deal with how the quarterback situation has gone down. You have still been able to get guys open offensively despite the quarterbacks being changed so frequently this year. And of course, when we talk about their record, there were a lot of people that questioned whether or not the Indianapolis Colts would even get 4 wins this year. There were some people who definitely didn't think they would. And I think there were some people that still think they can't get 5, 6, 7 wins. I would likely think that over the last 8 weeks of this season, the Indianapolis Colts could 100% get at least 3 more wins out of their last 8 games, because this is the backstretch of it. We have one of the easiest schedules in the remainder of the NFL schedule. So even with all the injuries that they have sustained and all the other things that have gone on, this Colts team is still winning football games and still has a chance to win every football game that they're in, because they're competitive. They're able to put things together that a lot of other teams just don't, right? So going off of that, I'm very impressed with Shane Steichen. Love what he's done with this team so far. Can't wait to see what he continues to do. Now, going off of that, we'll go ahead and hop into the rest of this. The 2 quarterbacks. First of all, Anthony Richardson. Really sad to see his season end so prematurely. Prior to his injury, there were, debates still going on as to whether or not Anthony Richardson was the best quarterback of all of them of everyone that's been drafted. Obviously, CJ Stroud has pretty much ran away with it at this point, right? But at that moment in time, I mean, Richardson had 4 rushing touchdowns, had 3 passing touchdowns in the 4 games that he played, right? So he had 7 touchdowns in 4 games, so he was definitely doing a lot with this team. So I think what everyone expected with Anthony Richardson is a lot of people thought Anthony Richardson would come out, look very sluggish, would not know what to do, have difficulty running an offense, and just wouldn't be able to compete in the NFL very well for his first few starts. And I mean, we saw a complete opposite. And this is also a testament to Shane Steichen. Anthony Richardson, I think, shocked a lot of people. You say that even in the 4 games, only the 4 games that he played, I mean, he showed some great stuff. I mean, he showed some really great stuff. In that Texans game before he went down, I mean, the Colts were up 14-0 in the first 10 minutes of the game. And it looked like Anthony Richardson could do no wrong. You talk about the first game against Jacksonville. It was his first game. Had a couple good throws. And the comeback against the Rams fell short, but late in the game when all hope seemed lost, Richardson helped bring that team back. Made you feel really good. Played really well against Tennessee before ultimately that shoulder ended up getting hurt. And so I think there's a lot of optimism for the Indianapolis Colts moving forward with Anthony Richardson. If he can remain healthy, he is a guy that definitely can take over this league if he stays healthy. Now, in regards to Gardner Minshew, Minshew has been at the forefront of a lot of great games this year for the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have won every game with him being in there at quarterback to end it. So, I mean, Gardner definitely deserves some credit for what he has been able to do. But I think all of us would say that it's also been a really bad roller coaster ride at times because of the number of turnovers that have come from him in that regard. So, I mean, there is a lot to go off of when it comes to that. A lot of fumbles, a lot of interceptions. It's been a roller coaster for Gardner Minshew. But overall, with this quarterback room, I think that it's been a fun experiment for the Indianapolis Colts, and there's a lot more going forward with it. Going into the rushing group, the 2 forefront guys, Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor, again, cannot understate what Zach Moss has meant to this Indianapolis Colts team. This Indianapolis Colts offense would not have been as good as it is had it not been for Zach Moss. Zach Moss was a huge guy for us in the Houston game against Baltimore. When we really needed him, man, he was our offense against Baltimore. Was a really big part of the offense against Tennessee, right? His 160, I think he had 190 total yards that day. So, I mean, you can't say enough about what Zach Moss has been for this Indianapolis Colts team, averaging almost 5 yards a carry this year, 5 touchdowns on the ground, 615 yards. I mean, this was a guy that got traded for a late round pick in Nyheim Hines in the middle of last year, and not many people thought that anything would come of Zach Moss. And Zach Moss has quickly emerged himself as one of the best running backs in the entire NFL, and that's quite crazy to think about. And of course, we talked about the Jonathan Taylor news. Hasn't been much to report of since him coming back, but it has been great to see Jonathan Taylor coming back. Is averaging over 4 yards a carry. So it's been great to see Jonathan Taylor getting back to what he once was. Receiving wise, this year, leading target man, Michael Pittman, 58 catches for 593 yards, 3 touchdowns. Has certainly been trying his best with the new system, new quarterback, new everything. Michael Pittman still at the forefront of everything else. Josh Downs, again, we knew this kid was going to be good. He has played very well. Second leading target guy, 41 receptions, 483 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Josh Downs has been a mover of the chains, and he is only a rookie, and he's second on this team in receiving. And Josh Downs is going to be a lot of fun to watch as time goes along. Josh Downs is going to be special here. Alec Pierce, again, not has been much of him. Very little usage. I mean, played in 9 games, only has 17 catches. Ends up having 14 and a half yards a catch. They just don't utilize him very well in the offense. And of course, I would like to also blame the quarterback as well for not really getting him involved in the offense as much as he probably should be. So, and of course, when we talk about the tight end group, I mean, it's been back and forth with this unit. We haven't seen Jelani Woods play this year. A bunch of guys have had to step up. Kylan Granson, Drew Ogletree, Will Mallory, guys like that. Mo Ali Cox, they've all gotten their fair share of usage in this system. So it's been a bunch of different guys going out there trying to see what they can do. Probably the most surprising and grateful unit that we've seen has been the offensive line. An offensive line that I said in the other video was just not good last year at all, has really reemerged itself this year. Recently, it's been a little bit sluggish. It's been not so great, but you've also been missing your right tackle for several weeks on end, and you're playing a rookie over there. It's really tough. But this offensive line has definitely been really great. Ryan Kelly's been one of the best centers in all of football this year. Quentin Nelson has kind of gotten back to his better form. Bernard Ryman has played really well this year. Even Will Fries has been solid. So it has been great to see the Colts be able to run the football, the Colts be able to protect their quarterback. It has been a much better version of itself than what it has been in years past. Now, as far as the defense has gone, for defensive linemen, DeForest Buckner on the year with 5 sacks. Samson Ibukam with 4. Kwity Paye with 3.5. Dio Adengbo with 3. And then Taven Bryan with 2. It's not been a great sack season for the Indianapolis Colts. The defensive line has just been decimated with a lot of different things. Grover Stewart with the suspension. We're seeing what it's doing to the Colts run defense. The Colts run defense has been very bad since Grover Stewart has left. And we all kind of predicted that when that would happen. So certainly hoping to get Grover Stewart back playing again with this team because we desperately need him. But again, DeForest Buckner being a great player like he is, I've loved what I've seen. Ibukam and Kwity Paye, amazing through the first 3 weeks of the season. But then after, after that, they have very much slowed down. Needless to say, the defensive end position is still searching for its key guy, but the defensive line has been its own thing. Linebacker wise, we kind of are seeing what we're expecting. Zaire Franklin, 102 tackles on the year. Still, I don't know if it's 100%, if it leads the league. Still, I think it's very close, but Zaire just is a beast, man. And EJ Speed and Shaq Leonard, both top 5 in tackles as well on the team. So, I mean, this linebacker unit has been the real deal. Certainly hoping we are going to get to see more of Shaq Leonard getting back to his true self. Certainly hope that that's going to get better. A secondary, as I said before, that has just been decimated with injuries, especially on the cornerback front. Juju Brent's out. And then you're talking about Kenny Moore's been the only guy that's not really had any injury problems. Dallas Flowers gets hurt. And then you're having to deal with your 3rd, 4th, and 5th string guys playing for you for the majority of the time. Overall, the defense definitely needs to get better, but they have been decimated with injuries, and a lot of things are changing. So certainly hope that things will continue to get better from that front. But I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. I know I'm leaving it maybe a little short, but just kind of came in and just wanted to explain a little bit on what's going on with the entirety of the team. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think has been this team for you this year. What have you been satisfied with? What have you not been satisfied with? All of those things. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always,